Good morning, Alice.
Good morning, Tim. How are you today?
I'm all right at the moment, with potential to be a bit on the chilly side. So, good morning, everybody.
Oh,
This
good
is
morning, everyone.
this is the Friday morning Ascension update, and I have the lovely Alice Heath here with me, and we are going to be talking about things that are going on in our sphere of existence at the moment, both ascension, energetic, real kind of practically stuff, and just having a little bit of dive into. I mean, it's early doors, Alice, isn't it? It's the 10th of
Yeah.
January today.
I
Um,
love that date.
yeah, yeah, it's a good one.
Reset
But
day.
it is a reset day. It's a one, isn't
Reset
it?
day.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's 10.
yeah,
1-0.
one
Reset.
zero.
And then
Back
tomorrow's 1-1-1 then.
to do do do. And we've
Mm.
got a full moon coming up.
Oh, I know. Is it in Cancer? I love it. I'm
I
so
think it's
excited.
the full moon on the 13th is incredibly powerful. It's
Mm,
significant for a number of reasons, and more information will be coming out about that at
mm.
a later date.
That's going to be so nourishing, though. That's going to have the potential to be so super nourishing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Mm.
yeah, definitely nourishing for the new year, 'cause it's the first full moon of the year, isn't it?
Yay!
So it's a good way to start when you kind of move into that nourishment energy. When we're kind of, I think a lot of us have come. And I'm speaking from observation of the field here, Alice, and you've probably seen it in a similar way, but maybe with a different interpretation. We've come blasting out of the new year, and then woof, the energy feels very, very strong, very
Mm,
intense. There's a lot going on in the field, and a
mm,
lot of us are immediately going, oh, hang on, that's not exactly how I thought it was going to be. We need to step back and internalize. And
mm,
having a little bit of a chat
mm,
about this before we started about how different we are going to have to be doing things this year.
mhm.
Our immediate experience and response to the energies around us are a good indication of as we dip our toes into the months of the year like February. I always get very excited about Imbolc. It's one of my favorite dates,
Yeah.
1st of February.
Oh, me
I mean, it doesn't
too.
matter if everything's covered in snow. You've got the snowdrops. You've got
Well, it's the return of the
getting
light.
lighter. Yeah, it's the
It's the
return of the
return of the
light.
light.
It's an
Yeah.
important festival.
Yeah.
Pardon me. And so we've got all of these different things going on, and I just want to talk about our responsibility and management of energy as we go through this.
hmm This is a really powerful topic, Tim. And what I love about inviting this in just before a full moon as well is that I actually, when you look at the fullness of a full moon, and I know you'll talk more about that maybe next week, but
Mooniness of the moon.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, well, this full moon is going to be ruled by the moon, right? A Cancer full
Mm.
moon is, the ruler is the moon.
Yeah,
So then that
it's
reflects
fine.
our emotions, our subtle bodies, our subconscious, and a lot of what is coming up right now is kind of like, it's a reflection of our subconscious,
Mm.
and the subconscious and the parts within us, conscious mind, subconscious, unconscious, really indicates how fragmented and how separate parts of our mind is. And whether we want to admit it or not, our ego will always say, no, 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 I've done so much healing, I'm super whole and super fancy. But really, we will be shown by how we interpret the world and events, whether they're in your own home or whether they are global. You'll get shown how split and fractured parts of you still are, and be given that incredible invitation to reintegrate those parts and find that balance, that non-duality
Mm.
in a very polarized world on a polarized planet, right? But this is what propels our growth. This is what propels our remembrance back to the oneness and the love which we are, right?
I like the
Yeah.
way you put that. That's a very wholesome, and you can tell like that they're coming through.
Always.
But very,
Never
very
shut up.
strongly, chipping away in your ears, sort of thing. It's in my last update, I was talking about how we didn't quite make the 50-50 on the December solstice. It was my personal point of focus for the majority of last year. At the beginning of the year, we moved in. It was around February. It was around Imbolc,
Mm,
and we were told that the entire light community was at 37%. 37% of the people on this planet were awakened,
mm,
compared to the ratio of completely inert, asleep, unawakened, still in hypnosis. And that the target was going to be that we hit 50-50 by the end of the year. And at 50-50, there is an ignition, there is almost like a plasmic movement through the field of consciousness, which ignites in the favor of
mm,
consciousness and higher
mm,
frequency, and everything begins to flow in that direction in a way that is just completely immovable and unstoppable. It just will not. There's not going to be any. There's not going to be any quibbles about where the energy's going after that. So by the December solstice, we were at 49%. It had even dipped back to 48%. And and I was like, well, why? What happened? And even though I already knew the answer. And Serapis Bay came in and said, because of the quantity of fear that is being shared within the field, and fear naturally is the one thing that has the tendency to lower light
mm,
quotient.
mhm.
Um, it happens. It
Like quote
happens
it, Carl.
in the moment. It happens in the moment. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a permanent thing. And also, bodies releasing density tend to drop their light quotient temporarily. So we dipped back and we didn't make it, which at the
Mm,
particular moment, it originally, yeah, we didn't hit the target. And then everybody up there seemed to relax and go, do you know what? Let's do this via flow.
mm,
And as we moved into 2025, a very, very different energy began to manifest itself. And
mhm,
that is all important for us as light workers to be embodying. And what you just said there, Alice, was incredibly in tune with it. It's about what we are and
mm,
what we are perceiving within our world inside.
mm.
And that actually directly affects the radiance and what we are projecting into the biosphere of our reality.
Absolutely. And can I offer something a little bit controversial, but
Mhm.
maybe this is why people watch the videos of you and I together.
Yeah.
But I kind of love that though. If it's
Yeah.
like 48, 49, I love that. Because like to me, you know, before something will integrate and release, it will show up. Just like triggers, right? If someone gets triggered by something, great. And if that trigger keeps coming up, fantastic. Because you know what? That part is ready to integrate back to love.
Yeah.
Like it's like if you think of the body, if you find yourself unwell physically, the last place that will show something moving out of you is the skin,
Yeah.
right? And it's like it's the last bit. It kind of it ripples out. It's got this the seed that grows and it bursts out, and it goes. But what's really interesting about fear and things like that is that at the very base of fear, and this is maybe slightly controversial for some people because they may not have heard it this way before, but fear is the most love held sentiment that exists because at the very center of fear is love. At the very center of fear is the concept that this energy has momentarily forgotten its truth, and the magnetism of the light of the love of your truth, of your one true heart, of the one true heart that connects us all, that we all come from, is drawing it out and drawing it forth. So let the percentage drop.
Yeah.
Fantastic, because in so doing, love births. In so doing, you know, the remedy or the miracle, if you want to call it that, can actually occur. The momentum can shift. The flow, as you just put it so eloquently, the flow is going to change its course slightly and build momentum, and it's going to expand back into its truth. Fear is just it's just wearing a guise, right? It's just love under a different guise. And so whenever something happens that is triggering or that is fear-based, like a major part of me, and especially my team, they go, it's all right, that's good, it's good, just like you stay regulated, help others stay regulated. And then what happens then is we get to look at what is coming up within us, and we get to go, that's a part of me that I've estranged, that I've exiled, that I've pushed away. That's a part of me that is so burdened by shame or something like that, that
Yeah.
there is a great fear showing that gap between where this energy is. Oh, where have you gone? There you
I'm back.
are. Show where this energy is and how far away it is from the center of you, to bring it back. So whether that's something that seems so unrelated, such as a world event, right?
Mm.
Or a collective event, it seems so unrelated to you personally. Actually doing the work within yourself is going to be the most efficient way of bringing it back, because you are the sun, you are the solar disk of the whole universe that surrounds you. That's what they're saying anyway, and it just feels
Absolutely.
really apt to share that.
It
And
it
I also just
correlates
want to,
it correlates perfectly to
yeah,
the simplicity of the there's various different codes of language or layers of language that come in from the higher realms, and
yeah,
as you step it down through the dimensions, the words get simplified for the ears that might not necessarily have had the prior higher understanding, if you understand what I mean. So if you break it down to the very basics of English language, which we are obviously speaking here today, it's don't get distracted.
yeah,
Okay, as within, so without, don't get
mm,
distracted.
mm,
So I utterly see with total clarity what they are saying. The second
mm,
your attention or your intention or your emotions are invested in something outside of you, then
mm,
especially if it's pertaining to you losing or dropping your vibration or moving into fear, then you bring it back to yourself and
mm,
grow that inner sun.
yeah. Just
So
grow your
we
focus on that alignment, right?
yeah,
Yeah, because we've got to remember as well the very principles, maxims, and premises that this universe which we inhabit
yeah.
operate by, and that is whatever you focus on is going to grow. So
Mm,
if you're focusing outside of yourself and you're sending with all the heartfelt love, great intention, because you notice first that something is out of alignment, then guess what? Guess what magnifies first?
yeah.
The out of alignment aspect. And so if we notice anything and then go, okay, but what do I know from the angelic realm? What do I know from the guides and from the principles of this planet is as within, so without. So then I'm going to take a moment to just breathe without attaching a thought or an intention, without my mind getting carried away here. I'm just going to find this unification of self. I'm going to just tune into my own soul light,
Yep.
my own love, the purest light that moves through the center of my sacred being. And in so doing, for that moment, we are timeless. We are in a space where all things are pure,
It's
perfect, and bliss. Peace.
zero
Yeah.
point.
0 point.
0 point.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I kind of guess that the flow and the message that we're bringing through today is the words that I'm getting is nurture or grow your inner sun. You know,
Mm.
particularly for, I mean, it's not going to matter so much if you live in the southern hemisphere, but as you can see today, I'm dressed for winter,
Things
and
turn it into an ice cube.
yeah,
Iced tea.
ice cube, definitely ice cube. So it feels very kind of pertinent, particularly sat here like this is like grow that inner sun, grow
Mm,
your warmth, grow your light,
yeah.
focus on doing that. And that also ties in very nicely with the 1%. The
Mm,
information that Serapis Bay gave me was that final 1%, that 1% from 49 to 50 would be the hardest one. It's the one that is going to receive the most pushback
mm,
from the very frightened 3D matrix that's doing absolutely everything that it can to keep the world containable,
mm,
um, in a state of fear and operating in the way that it used to, even though those days are long gone.
mm,
And so many people are waking up continuously because of the antics of the Matrix. It goes without saying. We've seen this happen so many times over the last 4 or 5 years or so. And that 1% is only going to be achieved when we are absolutely focused on our inner union, that light,
mm.
growing the inner sun and being immovable. Hey, let's have a little look at these cards that you pulled, actually, Alice, because we were
So
talking about it
there's
before we started.
mm, well, yeah, there's someone who created these cards, and like I was just saying to you, I don't know if you know this guy, Tim, but or if anyone watching this video knows the author of these cards, might be sat in front of me right now. But we have I just thought it'd be really, really fun before I got on the call with Tim just to draw three cards for this particular video and to start out the year on this 1-0 day, this 0 point day.
Yeah.
And we have Soul Light. And so ironically, Tim hasn't seen the cards that I drew. So I love that the whole video is actually revolved around the three cards. We have Soul Light, right? Look at all that beautiful, the golden wings on this card. You know,
Oh,
the artist did an
beautiful.
incredible, incredible job. And this is about the pure light and the love of the creator within you. And what have we been talking about? Right, that central point, that as within, so without. That if you were the creator, oh, and see, this is what they're bringing through. Tim, am I okay just to share this?
Yeah, of course you are.
Okay. What they're saying right now is that if you truly were the creator of the whole reality around you, then the creator, just like a guardian angel, would look upon everyone, regardless as to whether they're awakened in fear, in love, doesn't matter. Look upon everyone with the same loving eyes. They are perfection. They are beautiful. And I wonder if maybe we're just looking at that 1% through the wrong eyes. Maybe we're only seeing them as that 1% because they are mirroring back to us, to bring
Mm.
it back to us here, mirroring back to us an aspect of ourself that is yet to integrate.
Yeah.
What if that 1% is actually pure divine perfection? And without them, without it, we wouldn't actually be able to progress in our integration, in our raising of light quotient. Just really interesting little snippet that they
Biggest
kind of
feature,
just
that
dropped in there.
1%.
Yeah, you bet. Shows us ourselves, the
Yeah.
part of us that are so hidden in the shadows that we would reject that it's part of us, right?
Yeah.
But then we have light body, a
Yay. Good old
two
light one.
zero card. Yeah, well, you can talk about light quotient, and look at this. It's about purest light and light
Yeah.
quotient.
The
Incredible.
light body is all important.
Ah, sacred. And then the third card, and such a fan of this because the artwork is just really beautiful as well. But this is soulmate, the soulmate card. And Tim, you just mentioned about union, and whether we're talking about union of parts of self, whether we're talking about union of collective and individuality, this is your eternal unconditional love, soul magnetism. And we are really at the time of divine union as well for
Yeah.
anyone that's in that space, because we've just gone through the December solstice, a very Christed time. You have
Yeah.
the number one of the masculine, the number two of the feminine, 12-12 portal, 21-12, you know, and then what births from that is the number three, which is that unification energy. So you do inevitably and ultimately, we have soulmate energy right now. Whatever that means for you, whether that's just within, whether that's within and without, whatever it might be. But
Mm.
look at this beautiful white being covered in gold right here with two pillars of light and this immense universe growing from all these different little spheres, just growing like little
Ah, it's
fruits,
gorgeous. Thank you
roots
for
going all the
sharing
way
this.
down. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm quite
So
a fan of this.
that's your Inner Light Forge card deck created by Miriam Beck, Vivian of Lorient, and myself. And those cards couldn't be more appropriate. I just want to touch a little bit on I mean, the light body goes without saying. The light body is what we build, build, build. Where it's almost like a race. The first 10 years of this ascension process were a race to build the light body so the light body could keep up. You know, it's with the integrations of the planet. And then we move into the soulmate. Now, soulmates are always something that I always find very interesting because everybody is always looking externally.
Mm.
Everybody's looking externally for that soulmate, for that companion. And
Mm.
to me, the divine union,
Mm.
the like the merging of like the divine masculine, divine feminine, has to occur internally first before that external is honored and worshipped and
Mm.
actually becomes a reality.
Yeah.
So that's also something that's very important for us at the moment. So many people are seeking that spiritual support, that spiritual guidance, teammates,
Mm.
friends, companions, partners on this ascension pathway. But until we've fixed what resides within, and this
Mm.
ties in completely with what we've been talking about, the
Yeah.
external will not draw that in on a level that we can functionally operate at because everything is still distorted. So the
Absolutely.
distortions, it's all about lighting that inner sun, growing
Mm.
it, nurturing it, perfecting it, and then watching the outside world begin to match that resonant frequency.
Yeah.
Very, very important during this January that we know where we're going with it and how this alchemy actually works. Because when you look at it from the higher perspective, it's simple. but our lives have led us to believe that it is so complicated and busy, and there's so many moving parts
Mm,
that we are being requested to bring it back to simplicity within
absolutely.
us before we step forwards and deal with anything further.
Yeah, and what I love about this card as well, Tim, Vivian of Lorient, right, did the artwork. What I love about the colors that she's chose is this blue here.
Mm.
Is I mean, blue, a color of the throat chakra, also is very similar to the higher heart chakra, but to me,
Yeah.
this is a blue of compassion and grace. And this is so key for anyone that has felt the pains of loneliness or wanting to really find their tribe, their community, their soulmate or whatever it might be.
Mm.
Is that if we've trained ourselves in this whole life, if we've been groomed our whole life to only focus on the negative, what needs improving, then guess what? That's all you're going to see around. So you're going to be closing people out without giving them a chance.
Yeah.
And people will be closing you out without giving you a chance
Yeah.
as well. So we've got to allow that hardened heart wall to soften as well. And that's just part of the ascension process in its own right. That's going to be a major theme of this year is the heart wall softening into its true, purest compassion and grace. And what a beautiful thing, what a beautiful thing.
Thank you for explaining that so beautifully, Alice.
You're
That's
welcome.
yeah, perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we have got something coming up on the 21st of January, haven't we? Which
Yes, we
actually
do.
isn't that, which funny enough is 11 days away now.
Oh, yes, it is 11 days away.
11
11
days
days
away.
away, and it's another 2-1. It's another sacred
Yeah,
union number.
it
How do we
is.
do it, Tim?
I don't know. It's almost as if we planned it, but we don't. I think it just, these days just turn up, don't they? They just like rock up and it's, oh, look at that date. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
That works. Then we go and we look at like the
Yeah.
lunar transits and the cosmic transits and we go, wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We do. We have the most soulful event coming up. Oh my gosh. It's wholesome, soulful, illuminating, blissful, life as a living prayer. And it really ties in with softening and feeling the grace of the energy that this year has started with. So it, like Tim said at the very beginning, it's been a very intense start for most and many. And, there's been a lot of very hard energy coming in. Well, this is where firstly, we recognize and we accept and we invite the concept of what it could be to actually live life in the calmness rather than the chaos. What life would be like if we are living in this living prayer, if everything around us was so acknowledged in its mirroring, in its response, in its beauty, that how life can really change. And as you talk about the 1%, as you talk about the percentages, how that can really expedite such a growth and an expansion and a centralization of our light within to the point where everything outside just mirrors it. And it's just, oh gosh, I'm so excited about it, really.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's yummy with sprinkles on it, I think.
Yummy with, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. We're going to be visiting with some Christed dragons. We're going to be re-imprinting the whole structure
Hmm.
of this year onwards. We're going to be re-imprinting our inner codex with some new and really beautiful universal maxims. Just really, really, really gorgeous stuff.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
just on a final note, I'd like to acknowledge the human part of this process where, the concepts that we've spoken about this morning for some people might be one of the biggest hurdles of the journey
yeah,
to actually bring it all back to the like, the growth, the inner nurturing, because we have spent so many years sourcing externally
mm,
as human beings, and even on the light path,
mm,
those those habits, those programs, those traumas can be really, really tricky to navigate. So we're not saying that this is a quick fix, an overnight thing to sort out. It's something
mm.
that you've got to love yourself through. And that again, it all pertains to self-love, self-growth, self-nurturing. You will be asked to look outside yourself, and you will be asked to externally source your energy into things that you should be paying attention to.
Yeah,
Okay. And for some of us, that it's right on our doorstep. It couldn't be more difficult, but it is the time now to be turning inwards and growing that inner sun, igniting it, loving it,
mm,
working on it,
yeah,
and everything that's coming into this planet is meant to be as it is at the moment, and the
Mhm.
awakening, this year is going to be like nothing we've experienced before. So we need to be looking at it, how we are going to navigate it from the highest perspective possible.
Yeah, you get to choose. You get to really choose whether it's going to be chaotic drama and really challenging, or you get to choose whether it's going to be actually really peaceful and calm. And even though other things are happening around you, whether or not you can stay in that space because you are practicing what
Yeah,
it is to see from the heart truly. And that means acknowledging the parts of us we don't want to acknowledge, acknowledging the parts of us that we've created counter personalities for to protect us from seeing those parts,
yeah,
right? And it's such a beautiful way, the way that Tim, you're explaining it and describing it here as well. You know, it truly is a year where if you want it, it's there, because it's so on the cuff for everyone right now that it is just it's ready. And there's nothing more wholesome sometimes, nothing more healing and nurturing and nourishing sometimes than just being in a space or connecting with someone, whether it's through video like this or a workshop like we're doing, or a friend or someone, whomever, who actually has embodied a higher level of inner regulation and inner integration, because that has the ripple effect. And that is what you're going to see this year. You're going to get to acknowledge that, what the positive, beautiful, benevolent ripple effect is when someone has done the healing and you get to be in their presence. And this is what you're doing for others. This is what you're doing for people that are struggling or maybe unawakened, or whatever verbiage you wish to use. But also, we get to receive that as well. We're not only the ones leading, we get to show each other that as well. You know, I just think it's really cool.
beautiful. Thank you,
Yeah.
Alice.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim. Oh.
Well, my lovelies, I'm going to go and get warm. That's going to be, that seems to be a theme at the moment. It's just like everything's like, right, I'm going to go and get warm now. Coffee
Yeah.
time or tea
Coffee
time.
time.
So
Oh,
thank you, Alice, for joining me this
thank
morning.
you. Thank you
I'll
so
really
much, Tim.
look forward to bringing this work through you with you on the 21st, Life as a Living
Thank you.
Prayer. The
Thank
details
you.
for this workshop will be underneath in the text.
Yeah.
And yeah, from our hearts to yours, sending you all so much love, and we will see you again soon.
See you soon. Thank you for having me, Tim. Thank you, everyone.
Pleasure. Lots of love. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.